Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm here on the channel teaching myself how to play the violin again after walking away from music 25 years ago. Today I want to talk about one of the most famous Russian compositions from the Soviet era. That's the Jazz Waltz No. 2 by Shostakovich. I talk about the holy trinity of Russian composition, that is love, death, and war, or if not death, at least the terror and the fear of something terrible happening. And in the case of Shostakovich, that was absolutely true. And what was Shostakovich afraid of? Stalin. I mean, who wasn't? And even though he was one of the pet composers of that era, he was denounced. Friends disappeared, family disappeared, and he spent his entire life listening for the sound of footsteps at the stairs. Now, it's interesting because for me, even from my teens, the main thing I heard in Russian composition was always the terror. There's that sense that something could come after you, come running out of the forest. Now, why did the Soviet composers have to worry? Well, Prokofiev, Khachaturian, and Shostakovich, all of them were denounced in Pravda for compositions that were considered abstract. These were not little tunes that the workers could whistle on their way to the factories. And there was an enormous amount of pressure on them to write composition that was accessible to all the people. In the Jazz Waltz No. 2, Shostakovich satisfies several demands that were made upon him as a composer in the society that he lived in. I hear three very strong themes. I hear the oompa band. Yes, it's playing in the background, sometimes playing in the foreground. I hear an absolute sense of control, and I hear a very weird melody. It's a beautiful, haunting, creepy melody, and it is a melody that could go off the rails at any time. So let's start with the happy theme, the good times, the band. Let's hear the band play a little bit. Okay, so let's move backwards a little bit more and listen to that theme of control. Why is this a theme of control? The way this is played, the fingers are extremely percussive. You do a very hard strike to get the effect and the delineation of the notes in that section. So let's take a listen to this creepy melody, the main theme. You hear that? I mean, this thing could go off the rails at any time. You just have no idea where this thing is going. And honestly, I think that was the message from the Soviet composers, if only we would listen. Another really important thing about Jazz Waltz No. 2 is Shostakovich satisfied an absolute requirement of the demands of the Kremlin and the society where he lived. This piece can be played by absolutely any instrument or any combination of instruments. So no matter how far you sent that score out into the outposts of the Soviet Empire, you could put together a band that could play it. If you had a piano and a harmonica, if you had a clarinet and a viola, if you had a tuba and an oboe, by God, you could make a song out of this and you could play it all night. And wow, that was really important. Thank you so much for stopping in today. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, please. We love having more subscribers. Thank you so much for stopping in and hope to see you again soon.